Council on Aging Board meeting on Tuesday, August 12th at 2 p.m. at the Ayer Senior Center. This meeting will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless other required by law. Must miss the word there. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for an in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining the Zoom meeting ID number 375-414-6055 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager, ATM at ayer.ma.us or at 978-772-8220 extension 100 prior to the meeting. All right. So we'll call the meeting to order. Is there an approval or any amendments to the agenda?
No.
No.
I think there was a request made by Marge to make some changes, but I would be comfortable just discussing that as part of my director's report rather than amending the agenda.
That's actually where I was going to do that because I thought it was more appropriate
Okay, all right.
than doing that as part of the agenda.
Do we need to make a motion to accept the agenda, or is that just?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so please.
I would like to make a motion to accept the agenda as put forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Any interruptions?
So Cheryl said, yeah, aye. Dennis said aye. Mary said aye. Katie doesn't get a vote. All right. I know.
For the great
All right.
pleasure of getting them.
So we're gonna, do we have any minutes?
We do not.
Okay.
Get caught up.
Okay. So that can pass. So public input? Is there any input from the public?
Not today, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
All right. So moving right along. We're going to do meeting management discussion. It's more or less just reminding everybody that anything that we do or say, even outside of that, within regards to all five of us via email or anything, is under the open meeting law. So to remind everybody to not reply all to everything. There is a standard in the, within the email program, there is a place where you can default to just reply to the sender as opposed to reply all. You may want to consider that. Also too, is the other thing I also want to remind you with regards to that is that even in a public forum, so even like the Town of Ayer Facebook page or community page, to make sure before you reply to see if there is any other board members that may have applied or responded to something. Because while we are a member of 5 board members, so 2 members can respond to something without issue. It's that 3rd member that could get us into real trouble.
Right.
So it's just more an awareness and a reminder that that is there in those types of things. So a couple of other things underneath that is, I'm gonna strive to keep the meeting to an hour and a half.
Thank
So
you.
I know you have a 4 o'clock hard deadline to get out. So at the very least, if we can't keep it to an hour and a half, we'll do the hard cut at 3:45 to give you enough time to settle back in, Cheryl.
I appreciate that very much.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm cognizant of that. Sometimes we may get a little closer depending on what we're discussing or anything, but we're gonna try really hard to keep to that.
Perfect, thank you.
So the only other thing that I have is I guess this is in some of the things is, and Katie put it in your director's report, and I've got it on as an agenda item, is talking about sort of to look forward to anything that's upcoming from a potential volunteer or something that we may want to consider going to at some point in time. That, you know, the more advanced notice that we have, people can put it on calendars and consider it and those types of things. I mean, getting it out from that, and that can at some point in time. I'm sorry, Barbara, my fax to you, I just couldn't do it, so, oh.
All right, Dennis.
Could I ask a question before we move on?
Yes,
Regarding the open meeting law.
yeah,
It's a great reminder and thank you. So if we were to reach out to another board member, just a single member, that's not considered an infraction of the open
No.
meeting. So I
No.
could email Dennis or email you or email two of the five, and that would not be considered?
that's right.
that would not be.
You
No.
can email one of the
You can
five.
only one of the
One.
five. Once
One
you
of the
get
five,
into
thank
that-
you.
Once you
Okay.
get into that majority, that's where it sort of throws it over into
I
a
see.
potential
Okay,
issue with the open meeting law.
And the overarching goal behind that is that the public should have the opportunity to participate and provide input in all of our
Yeah.
business.
no, I
And
agree.
so
Yeah,
if people are advancing the business of the board via email, there's no way for the public to participate in that. So,
Correct.
obviously, any board or committee that's doing work has to be able to do work to have a next productive board meeting. But no votes can be taken, and
Right.
as a group discussion to advance something, it
Mhm.
needs to happen in the meeting, but the individuals can do their work that they need. Or a subcommittee can do work to report back, but that also just has to not be a majority of the members.
Right. So that's really sort of, it's that transparency.
So majority of the members, so that would be 3 as four.
Mhm.
Correct.
So 1 or 2 is okay.
Yes, one-on-one.
Right, I mean, if you wanted to talk to yourself, yes, you can do that, but yes, two, I'm just teasing Dennis.
Just make sure you take good notes, Dennis.
perfect. Thank you for
Right, yeah.
clarifying.
Yeah.
So it has to be, I mean, as the town's attorney explained the open meeting. First, it has to be a meeting, and a meeting
Right.
is defined by the fact that there's a quorum present. It just,
Right,
and
exactly.
there is no meeting, hence
Exactly,
there's no issue.
right,
And the other thing is that it has to be a deliberation regarding some matter and deliberative. That is, in my view, and I think in the town's attorney's view, if you all showed up at the same Christmas party on December 21st and there were 4 people there from the board, that would not be a violation unless
Right.
all 4 of them walked into a side room and
And
began
huddled,
talking
yeah.
about
Correct.
something.
Correct.
or huddled together,
What's that?
or huddled together.
Right.
Right,
So, and I have heard in this town, you know, this goes back a ways, that people were upset that there was a social occasion to which boards showed up. And they considered that a violation. It's my understanding that that is not a violation.
no, it's not, if everybody's at a holiday, if all 5 of you are at a holiday party and you're talking about Christmas cookie recipes together, that is not an open meeting law violation.
I mean, like, that being said, is the majority of us may go to town meeting,
Right,
and then too, that's,
hopefully we would,
as
yeah.
long as we don't sit together, is my
And
understanding.
form
and
a
sort of-
coalition, yeah, right.
Right, yep.
Thank you.
Right? So that was,
Thank you.
no, that's fine, that's what we're here for, and, all right, Katie, do you want to, that was really my, like I said, my meeting, it wasn't anything really, lack of trying to figure out what else, how to call it or
Mhm.
phrase it. It was really just more along those lines.
Mhm.
Oh, and just like for the members, I'm going to just include you on the email that I send to the agenda committee to post the agenda, so that's how you'll get the agenda.
Okay,
Thank
yeah, no reason to do it twice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so, for the director's report, I think everyone got a copy of the revised one. And apologies, I got excited and sent it out before I had finished double checking all of the, paper sign up sheets. So we had 130 seniors in attendance, in the month of July for a total of 632 check-ins. The average daily attendance was 30 people. That of course does not, the way my senior center generates the statistics, they don't incorporate Meals on Wheels or van riders. That is tabulated separately.
Yep.
So that does not include the 13 Meals on Wheels clients or the 66 van riders that we had in July. We provided 39 seniors or older adults, sorry, I'm trying myself to make the switch to older adults, and I'm getting it done on paper, and sometimes I'm forgetting in my language. So outreach services were provided to 39 older adults, a total of 71 times in July. Mary Ellen, mostly, but Mary Ellen and I were both busy with client one-on-one meetings with clients in July. Financial counseling and housing concerns were the most frequent topics that were discussed during that time. In July, we had 311 meals served to 67 older adults. 123 meals were delivered to our 13 Meals on Wheels clients. As always, we are very grateful for our volunteers. We had 12 volunteers in July that worked a total of 161 hours, which is a value of $2,301, which is amazing. And in terms of transportation, the van July is a little slow. July and August can sometimes be a little slow. We had 66 riders with a total of 440 trips. And just 440 trips is legs. So but it's not exactly 220 round trips. Because there are people that we take to work, for example, that we don't bring home, or vice versa. Or people who we're giving rides to a doctor's appointment, but a family member is meeting them there, so the family member is bringing them home, that sort of a thing. But I would say the majority of them are round trips.
So like if you take a group to shop, is that 2 legs or is that considered one because it's a round trip?
It's 2 legs.
Okay.
That's just, trips is the way that Mart wants it
Okay.
from here to there. So I'm gonna call those legs.
Yeah.
So if you say 440 legs, 220 round trips, it's like I said, it's not
It's not
exactly
exact, yeah, no.
that. It doesn't, but it's a close enough
Yeah.
approximation.
I just didn't know whether it was that circle, if that made a difference or.
Right. Let's see. So I think
And another,
Mhm.
is that, so if you are picking up a group of people,
Mhm.
so let's say, you're picking up Barbara first, and you're gonna pick up Dennis, and you're gonna pick up me, you're coming back, is that 3 legs or 1 leg?
So Mark does that in, they calculate it in 2 different ways. Trips are per person, so if I
Okay.
have 13 people or 12 people on the van, it's 12 person trips. But it's one
One
trip.
trip,
One
okay,
trip,
okay,
yeah, all right, so
Fair
that's why I don't report person trips,
Yep.
because person trips are like duplicated, like
Yeah,
in terms of
okay, I get
people.
that.
I know it can be a little bit confusing, but, so I did a little bit of, research. Initially, I thought that there was an error in the reporting. But I dug deeper in, we've seen a decrease in medical rides in the past few months, which is not exactly what I expected. But I just wanted to let you know, I'm gonna be looking into it further. I knew that we would be making fewer trips since the hospital had closed, obviously, because we wouldn't be going to Neshoba. I just thought that we would be busier taking trips further away. So, I want to go back and do some really in-depth analysis of that. I know people are going further away for their doctor's appointments now and are less able to meet the structure of when our rides are being offered. Anecdotally, I am hearing some people say that they're making better use of, if they are Mass Health eligible, they're making better use of their PT1
PT ones,
eligibility, which is actually a good thing. There's no sense in riding we're happy to offer rides, especially when they were very close by.
Yeah.
But if someone is eligible for another form of transportation, they should use that, and then the COA van can really fill in holes.
With that,
First
yeah.
of all, for people who aren't Mass Health eligible, but still not drivers. And for if, there isn't that kind of a ride available. So I'm gonna look into that. I'm unsure if it's like, increased use of PT1, alternative transportation coordination, although, the number of people riding the Emerson shuttle is incredibly low. One person, sometimes two a day.
I was wondering about that. Do you get any numbers on that?
I did get some numbers last month, and it was a person a day, and they were really considering whether or not it was viable to continue. And I sent back an email about, the hospital hasn't even been closed a year yet. People were in shock. They didn't know it was coming. They probably took a couple months to reestablish with new providers. And so therefore they had to be worked into the schedule. So even if you had annual appointments, we would just now be finishing up the last set of people that were due for annual appointments since the hospital closed. But all of that's gonna be shifted a couple of months because people had to find new providers and get worked into a new schedule. Just because you were due next month doesn't mean that your new provider would have had an appointment for you in that month, right?
Yeah.
So, they have.
And people are waiting months to get primary care appointments.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They can even
That's
get it.
crazy.
Yeah. So, it was I won't say strongly worded. It was a persuasive email back to Mark to say, you can't cancel this yet. It's too early to determine whether or not this service is viable. Please give this several more months. So,
Was the person picking it up in Ayer or in Shirley, or was it?
that I don't know.
If it was-
Anecdotally, I think they were picking it up in Ayer.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. It's also possible that they showed me the Air statistics versus the Air Shirley and Harvard
Yeah.
statistics, but they said the ridership was very low. So, I'll go back and look to clarify and make sure.
Could it also be some of that alternative ride used to that?
Right.
That
So-
one-on-one type of taxi type of deal?
So
Do you have any numbers on that?
I don't have any numbers on the micro transit, and that would be interesting to get to see.
Yeah.
If that's taken off as well, because they have a wider range of hours too, like 7 days a
Correct.
week.
Where did the funding for the Emerson shuttle come from? Comes through Mark. but
It's
where did
through
the
Mark.
state
I
fund?
I don't know for sure. That is
Thought it was
probably a
state.
federal grant, if I had to guess, but I don't know.
I mean, if ridership does not go up, if we had an alternative to propose to Mark. That is, I understand that this does not seem, it's not effective or financial, it's not good use of money. How about if we do this and give them an alternative so that we keep the money or in Air?
That I don't know. I mean,
Would you have any ideas about how to improve that if the Emerson shuttle goes away?
well, that I think would then fall back on us as the COA, because that Emerson shuttle is not limited to older adults. So, that's a pot of money that's not like I can say, well, I would like that pot of money instead, that grant money. Because it wasn't aimed specifically at my population, to be
I
honest.
see.
So, but it's a good question to ask, and we can certainly follow up with Mart if they, are considering. Like I said, they're gonna let this run. Now you have to reserve your ride in advance. So the schedule is the same, but there's not a person driving an empty van around. They're coming out to fulfill the schedule when they have someone reserved on it. So you
Okay.
can't just drop in now like a regular bus stop. So that's how they're trying to increase the.
And did they change because we have the schedule posted, did they change the marketing material to reflect the fact, you have to call now?
I doctored it for our newsletter so that it would reflect that you needed to call. And that phone number that you have to call is a mess. Sometimes you wait an hour on hold. It's
It's ridiculous to call
terrible.
Mart. Yeah.
It's terrible. And there's just the one phone number to get to kind of all of their ride scheduling services. And sometimes, like I waited with a client, just in a support capacity for like 25 minutes, and then the phone just cut off. And then we called back again and she waited like 15 more minutes, and then it was all in Spanish, despite the fact that we had selected English. So on the third time, we were able to get it scheduled. So it's just very frustrating.
that feedback to Mark.
Yes. And you can
Thank you
schedule
for doing
online.
that.
Yeah, you can schedule online, but that is, the client has to be comfortable scheduling online. So that's not always the case.
In that demographic, it's not always. What
You know,
about,
this may be a silly question. Does Mart or anybody provide transportation for evenings or weekends or cultural events like Groton Hill Music? I mean, try to get to
So-
Groton Hill in a wheelchair if you don't drive. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right. So the newish micro transit grant that started in May, June. That's in our newsletter. It's the teeny tiny, at the transportation page, it's the teeny tiny block in the bottom left.
Okay.
That one runs 5:30 AM to 10 PM. So that might be cutting it close for our Groton Hill performance.
It would, yeah.
But you can go anywhere within a 20-mile radius. And,
Wow.
it's a livery, a taxi livery grant. So it's designed. They have, I think, 15 different companies that they contract with, and they
Wow.
have a set that take large numbers, a set that are handicap accessible, a set that is not. So I would definitely give them a call,
Thanks.
Cheryl.
I
They would be
would.
very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. I used to go to the Groton Hill Music all the time. And since I've become, chair-bound, it's impossible. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And great newsletter once again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And the COA van can take you up until 8 PM, but you just have to wheel home.
Mostly weekends and
Yeah.
Sundays, Sunday afternoons and things. Okay, thank you.
is it worthwhile doing some type of, and Barbara, maybe you can provide some input into this, some type of internal within the COA or within the aged community and Ayer, some type of survey to see if that the awareness of the Emerson shuttle or trying to figure out why it isn't used.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's, have you used it, Barbara, at all, or you probably don't go that way, right?
Okay,
Yeah. No, to like the doctors, or you,
I go to doctors, but someone takes me, my son takes me,
okay,
because I have 5 appointments this month.
all right,
And the beginning of next month, then I have something to pay for. And the reason I wouldn't do it is because you might get there, but then the van isn't gonna come for another hour and a half after you get there, after your appointment, say your appointment's at 9.
Yep.
When you get there for your appointment at 9, then you're not gonna get a ride back until maybe 11 or 12.
okay, so it's just the timing of those types,
Right,
whatever.
I'm not trying to, but,
No, it's,
I mean, that could be what other people figure too,
yeah,
you know?
and I guess that's
You
sort of
don't
just
know.
sort of what I'm trying to wonder about,
No, I know people that have called for the taxi.
Yeah.
And they've been very happy with that.
Okay. Yeah,
Coming at the right time, picking them up.
Yeah.
dropping them off. Yeah.
And that's the micro transit.
yeah, those numbers would be interesting. to
Yeah,
see.
I'll ask Mark for those. But at least, and those would definitely be, they would probably give those to me just for air. Okay, so then I'll talk about the transportation or the volunteer opportunities and then come back to the format of the report as a whole. All right, so some upcoming dates. In September, we're gonna have an open house. September is National Senior Center Month. I had picked, the date is to be determined. I had picked a date, but one of the people that I needed to be here isn't available on that date. So stay tuned. It will probably be September 18th. But that is not confirmed yet. That will be an opportunity for people to come down. We'll do it from probably 4 to 7 PM. An opportunity for the community to come out and see the senior center. Obviously, our regular users will be inviting our groups to do their thing in the space, and people can mill about. It will be cozy, it will be crowded, it will be all of those things, but to see the space, that's a pretty typical senior center month activity.
So you're gonna have like vendors, if you will, so like you're gonna have like the exercise people here and those types of things, sort of.
Yeah, so I'll
Or
have
somehow.
in this room, I'll be running continuous exercise class. You know, with the people who typically attend those classes, I'll ask them if they would be willing to come. It's like a demonstration.
Okay, yeah.
A demonstration. And then we may run either an arts and crafts or cards and games in that back space. And then you know, have people milling about and have some snacks and things in the main dining room area. So the idea is just to kind of see the space, see it in use.
Okay.
You know, I'll be requesting some of our regular folks to come do their thing in the space so that
Are you
other people
gonna-
can see how they enjoy
Are
it.
you gonna request that Jared be here, that like the police liaison?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Cause that's something good to have sort of
Mhm.
people introduced
Right.
and those types of things.
So I mean, and obviously we don't have a lot of space here, so we're limited in how open housey the open house will be. But yet I still think it's a good opportunity for people to drop by that, you know, that can't see it during its normal hours to have the opportunity to see it.
Yeah, and I think that if, as long as you get parking lot full, so that whoever shows up has to, like,
Well, that doesn't take much, so,
right, I mean, but that's a positive to it.
yeah,
Point.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
we
we're
would wanna see-
showcasing where we are, right?
Yeah, we would want to see an overflowing parking lot as early as possible.
Yeah,
So then-
that won't be a problem. I mean, just the regular people here to do the demonstration will, you know, the exercise demonstration will fill the parking lot. So,
You thinking about some of like overflow or how maybe to move some of the overflow people?
do it.
I mean, I guess that was just it, if
Then
it,
don't know why.
I guess that's what, so is it like overflow parking, you know, put them down?
We'll have to have appropriate signage
Yeah.
for overflow to be
Is
down
there
there.
any way to use the bus to potentially move some of those people up?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
only because some of them may have mobility issues or those types of things. And that's a tough hill.
Cut a hole in the fence.
You put a set of stairs up or, you know, escalator, but you know, yeah, if there was something maybe. That mover. That's right, that's what we need.
So, yeah, so stay tuned. Details are being worked out about that right now. The fall foliage turkey train will be October 3rd. That one usually sells out, so I'm not really gonna call it a volunteer opportunity, but as board members, you guys are all eligible and older adults to join if you would like to. The Newton Street Festival is October 4th. I could use COA board members to help do that. I am likely going to be out of town that weekend. So between the COA board and the building committee, I would hope we could have some good coverage for that. On October 11th, the Rotary Club always does their annual chicken barbecue. They do over at the Devon's Community Center, they cook up lots and lots and lots of barbecue chicken dinners. And most older adults swing through and do like a drive-through service and pick it up. You sign up in advance and then you drive through and pick up dinner or lunch. I'm sorry, it's lunch. It is dinner portions, but it is at lunch. We also, the senior center also offers delivery to folks who are not driving. So if you would like delivery to your home, please let people know, because we will be offering that service as we always do. Also on the 11th is the Harvard Flea Market, and the Friends of the Ayer Seniors will be having a booth there to raise funds for the new senior center. So in the September newsletter, a call for donations will go out, and most older adults are trying to downsize their homes. So if you have things in good working condition that you want to downsize and get rid of, you'll be able to bring them that week to the senior center, for pickup, for donation, and then we will transport them over. The idea is that you would be donating those items. We can give you a tax receipt for donating them, but then the friends will turn around and sell them. So everybody wins. You get rid of your extra stuff and the friends can earn money from it. So, then we're gonna have, starting in mid-September, the building committee will be hosting a series of public information sessions. So stay tuned for that. I think the first one is the 15th. Hang on, let me pull that up. There we go. Okay, that's 2 different days. September 15th.
Yeah.
In Town Hall, in person only. Saturday to September 20th at the Senior Center. That will be in person and Zoom. Wednesday, October at 10 a.m. at the library. And then we're just waiting for a date confirmation for an evening program at the high school. So,
In that picture, that will, can you substitute a picture of actual air people? Can we get 5?
so hang on just one second. Let me come back. Cheryl, since we're now talking about this, let me share this. This is just a draft this is just a draft Canva I had created. Hang on, can you see that? Okay. So Dennis's question was whether or not I could swap out this one. So the issue is, this was the draft postcard to go out to as a townwide mailer. And Barbara's holding up a paper copy that she got at the building committee the other night that is a draft copy. As you can see, the picture is different. The issue is getting a picture of Air seniors that is in focus, well lit, displays the kind of vibe, kind of emotion that you would like to do it, and that, you know, is easier said than done. So if
Air seniors are not a happy group of people.
No,
I think it's getting them all, because it's gonna be, most of them are probably gonna be those quick, where that's.
Right, like a
professionally done.
snapshot, that's a professionally shot stock photo.
Oh,
So, you know, versus like if we look at my drafts for these, see how these are my pictures. So like this picture here that says it's too small, like there's no good focal point, the lighting is not great. You have to really know what you're looking at in order for that to make sense. So I'm unlikely to swap it out, just because it's hard to achieve that kind of a photo
On a cell phone?
on a cell phone.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, stop the share there. Okay. So let's see.
And I
where was I
think you
at?
have to get consent for people if you use their photograph, and that's a pain in the
Yeah.
neck legally.
Yes, and we do actually have a photo release as part of our user agreement, that everyone signs when they sign up for the senior center.
Okay.
So that is not as bad, but, it is just easier.
Better
to get
quality.
It's better quality, it'll print better, all of those things. Okay, so I think that brings us to, Marge had sent an email about, a revision to the director's report in
Yeah.
general. So I don't know, does anybody have
I
that to
do.
read just for the sake of?
She said she would like to see the agenda be that the director's report shows how many people attend lunch daily, use services, i.e. or Mary Ellen or Katie meetings monthly, meal delivery monthly/weekly, activities are what what it are activities, what it is, and people that use it. And she seems to be like, she's commenting that saying the people coming to the center for the month is 570, and the lunches served just seems vague to her. She's trying to figure out what a daily use, whether daily use is a better picture of the center itself.
Okay, so, all right, so lunch daily, services monthly, meal delivery monthly or weekly, and activities. Okay, so, what we I'm not sure where the 500 number came in. That might have been annual statistics from last meeting. I put out the FY
Yeah.
24.
It could have been.
But
I need to go back and look.
the monthly attendance was 130, and that's already in the report. Services monthly, that's down here in the outreach section, that's already here. 39 older adults received outreach services 71 times in July.
Yep.
So people came almost twice, or
Yep.
some people came once and some people came 4 times, right? But that's about what that works out to. Meal delivery monthly, that is in here already.
Already? Yeah.
So that is 123 meals were delivered to 13 Meals on Wheels clients. That's for delivery. In terms of activities, I could certainly go into more detail if that's something you guys would like to see. Do you want me to do a little demonstration of how I pull those so that
Is
you
it
can
a
see?
stock report?
So there are a lot of options. Let me come over here and,
You know, one of the things too is also trying to maximize your time doing things that you are supposed to be doing. And yes, there is some reporting that comes out of your function. But to
You know-
manually have you take a lot of time to pull these figures out if they're not readily available.
right, sure,
I
and
just, looking at the worth of the cost versus the benefit.
Are there some, I'm not sure what, well, I mean, perhaps we
Hang
should
on,
wait
sorry.
and talk.
Cheryl, I'm sorry, are you trying to speak and I keep cutting you off?
No, that's okay. I thought the activities were in the calendar. Why do we need it twice? We already know
we
what
don't-
activities you sponsor unless there's, half of them are canceled, but I don't think that's the case. So if we want to see what the center is doing, all we have to do is look at your your newsletter. It's wonderful and it has everything.
I believe Cheryl's looking, I'm not Cheryl, I believe Marge is looking for the number of people that are participating in
using it.
those activities.
right.
Okay.
So let me give you a little demonstration. I think I did this way back 3 or 4 years ago now when we first got my senior center.
I'll be
But
honest
it's
with you, I
been-
haven't seen.
Right, so I think this is a great opportunity to go through. This is when people come in and check in at the kiosk, you guys swipe your barcodes, and then there's a button for each activity. So this is what it looks like on the back side. So my senior center is run, it has across here at the top, there's all these different modules, right, that are available: people, personnel, events, meals, rides, equipment, and statistics. And the main place that you start here is this right-hand column. We have event templates, and so everything is listed on the left. These are all my templates where I go through each month, or in some cases where they're recurring, I do it once a year and schedule in the whole calendar. The things that are special events, I have to schedule in each month, right? But things like 9 o'clock exercise, I go in and schedule for the entire year at the beginning of January.
Mhm.
So events get scheduled into a calendar. It manages space, like it doesn't let me schedule 2 things in the same room at the same time, which is not a big deal here when you have 2 rooms. But when you have a larger center that's got many rooms, it helps you not do that. So the first thing that you'll see then is today is over here on the right-hand side. So just to use this as an example, so these are the events. So each of these here on the right-hand side corresponds to each of the buttons that I have scheduled out on the kiosk. So I can see here that 4 people dropped in today. They didn't attend a program, they dropped in. I actually didn't have anybody in chair exercise or chair yoga today. We had 6 people in cribbage. A note, there are some people who are chronic non-signer inners. So I try and do a little editing of that, if there's someone that I know does not sign in. And then I will say on this day,
Yeah.
I don't try and trust my memory from days before, but like on this day, right? So then there were 6 people at Tai Chi right now.
Number in black.
Oh, so the number in black is I set over on the left-hand side when I'm doing these events. I set a maximum capacity for each one of these events. And so, like chair exercise 20, cribbage 24, because we could expand all the way out in there if we needed to, right? So that's the
All right.
capacity of that event. So lunch is a capacity of 24 on a Tuesday. Right now, it says that 15 people checked in. I would have to go back and look. Denise does a head count. She physically counts the number of people, and that's written down in the green book. Oftentimes, that number is 2 or 3 people off. And so I have to go back and refer to the green book and look and see if that number matches. And if it doesn't match, the receptionists are typically checking in, double checking people as they come in, so I can do a little reconciliation.
Okay.
If it's off by like 1, I usually don't really worry about it, but today I think we were, I don't know how many people actually, were at lunch, so I will reconcile that number. That's part of like, for example, why the first number wasn't correct, because I hadn't checked, I hadn't reconciled the numbers yet. So sometimes it's off, oops, sorry. Okay, so then, the Friends meeting is actually tomorrow. I'll have to move that over. And then for the COA board meeting, here's a great example of something that has to be tended to. So 3 people checked in for this COA board meeting.
Yeah.
You 2 are volunteers who are not attendees. So you need to log in as volunteers for this period of time, because that's why you're here. You're not here attending.
So we just can't click the board meeting?
Well, because I log you guys as volunteers for that period of time. So then that would be double counting your time, and I don't want to do that. So,
I didn't realize that, because I always just, oh, there it is, bam.
yeah, no, and that makes sense. So, so that's an example of reconciliation. I'll have to go back and look, and I'll say, no, you 2
Yeah.
weren't here as program attendees, you were here as volunteers. And so I will take you 2 out, and then I will give you 2 hours of volunteer time, but you guys could just do that directly.
So when I
That's-
swipe the barcode,
Yes,
what do I need to hit?
then right
Volunteer.
beneath your name is a button that says volunteer. And then you tap the volunteer button, and then you'll say, what are you here to volunteer for? And you'll hit COA board, and then you'll enter in like 2 hours or however long you're here for. But
So don't hit the COA board meeting as if I were gonna be.
as if you were an attendee, no, because you're not really an attendee.
No.
So,
Walk through it again. I swipe.
so you swipe your card, and then up underneath your name, you have a volunteer button. Most people aren't volunteers, they don't have that volunteer button. So swipe your card, hit the volunteer button, you're here for a board meeting, and then you're here for 2 hours, basically, for most COA board meetings. So that way, it's, you're being recorded in these volunteer hours, and you're not being recorded as a program participant, because I think that's most accurate. Could you make the case either way? Yes, I think it just matters as long as we do it consistently.
Yeah, or
Then-
distinguishing this, you're here for actual true volunteering versus the board.
Now, if I were to click on this COA board meeting right now, it would pull up which 3 people. They're not gonna do that because this is an open meeting and it's recorded and all of those things.
Right.
But if I clicked on it, right? So,
But you must have, you go in and add, you must add Cheryl then, right? Or do you
Yes.
re-sign in remotely, Cheryl?
I don't.
Okay.
In fact-
so
fact,
that's,
what-
that's.
Do you guys have ID cards? Is that what you're talking about?
We do, yeah, ID cards with like a barcode on them.
Okay. No, I don't
So-
have that, so.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I can log volunteer hours for you guys. That's part of the cleanup that happens before. That's what I'm doing to prepare
Mhm.
to generate this report for you guys. That's just,
Do I count as being,
so you are here today, so for this board meeting, you're attending it as
okay,
an
then
attendee, so you would,
I went under volunteers and I checked in as,
so you volunteered as a receptionist today,
yes.
right? So
Right.
you logged your
Okay.
volunteer hours for that.
Mhm.
But you're here at the COA board meeting as
Okay.
an attendee, as a participant, right?
Okay, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it's the two separate
Two
things, yeah.
separate things, yeah.
Yep. So, when it comes time to the, so that shows you sort of how things add up on a day by day basis. And then for services, that is managed, we pull up the person, I'm not gonna hit that button again, but I pull up the person that I did outreach services with, and then I have, a notes section where I can enter, there's a menu of, was it in person, on the phone, or via email? Was it scheduled or unscheduled? What was the nature? And there's like 30 different
Sure.
things, the nature of the type of service.
And the people that would come up under the people are all registered attendees or all the
Mhm.
registered
Mhm.
members of the Air COA senior.
Correct, yeah, that's who's in there.
And you get in there by just signing up and saying, I wanna be a senior center.
So, yes and no. So I have the town census of people 60 plus
Yeah.
uploaded in there, and I update it each year when the town clerk updates it. But people who are just seniors go in there, just older adults go in there as to create the total head count. But until you have signed up to use the senior center, you won't have a joined date. And then when you sign, you get a barcode, you do the release form, you have a joined date that's entered, and then you become a part of statistics at that point. So,
You have a total listing of every aged adult who's over the age of 60
mhm,
in the town of Ayer.
mhm.
So in your,
It gets updated once a year, but yes.
yeah, basically, so,
Mhm.
but it's it's gonna be reasonable. So do you have,
It's reasonably accurate, yeah.
yeah. So in that statistics section up there,
Mhm.
does that sort of give you the percent, or would that give you sort of the percentage of the participants that have come to the center versus the whole population?
Right, yes. Because we know that there are about 2,200 older adults in Air. So I don't actually need them all loaded into my senior center in order to accomplish that. But yes, I can compare how many people use the center to that 2,200 number.
No, that would be interesting to see occasionally with that number.
Well, but that's what I gave you at the last month. We saw
But not
530
against the whole,
against 2,200.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm trying to avoid
Yeah.
doing that mental math.
oh, okay, all right.
Well, I guess from that is I'm looking for that, sort of that officials.
It's a quarter,
Yeah.
I saw a quarter
Yeah.
of the older adults in town. I mean, that's roughly a
Right.
quarter. So again, coming back to the outreach, services. So, you would enter a person, like I would search for that person's name. And again, I'm not gonna search for them because if I click on that button, it's gonna give me people starting in A's, and then I would search like for
Okay.
myself. So I'm not gonna click on the button, but I choose the kind of service and then I give it, the amount of time we spent on it, to the quarter of an hour is about how we
Yeah.
do that. And then, we're able to put service notes in like a case management, system. And so then I'm able to run statistics based on those initial fields. Was it by phone? Was it by email? Was it in person? Was it scheduled, unscheduled? What was the nature of it? The notes themselves are tallied within the person's file, but they're protected. So for example, only Mary Ellen and I, the permissions are set.
Yeah.
So if you guys have I think there's one COA board member login, you can't see any of those notes. Sam and Donna and Denise they have my senior center privileges, but they can't see any of those notes. It's only Mary Ellen and I that can see them. So it's,
Where did they get backed up? Do they get backed up to like a?
my senior center has a,
So if you, something happened and you lost the thing, they would down, you'd get it. from them.
and I definitely don't know that from personal experience. Yeah, I did have to have them back it up one time it's like, take me back to yesterday, please.
How often do they back it up, every night?
Yes, I think it might actually be twice a day.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you get the report that says it was backed up?
I don't get the report that it was backed up.
Is there anything in the system that would tell you it was backed up? So would you know if it wasn't backed up, I guess is my point.
I find their staff to be so incredibly responsive, and I can't recall a time that they've said it wasn't backing up.
All right, I
Um,
guess that would just be one thing that, you
yeah.
know, just making sure that.
Yeah.
How would I know if it wasn't backed up,
So
other
if I,
than an emergency?
so if I
You don't
come
wanna find
over
out that
here,
way?
yeah, no, so if I come over here and hit the statistics button, these are sort of the quick run reports
Okay.
that I can get.
Mhm.
So for example, I can click on event statistics. And this allows me to filter out who I want to see. For this, I've picked everybody at the Ayer Senior Center, but I could filter by only veterans, or I could filter by people who use walkers, or I could filter by whatever data we're,
Can you filter by gender?
yeah, I can filter by gender. Like if I only wanted to know the men who blah, 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 whatever, like that were here, I could have a list of men. I could have a list of women. I could have a list of whatever. And then in the columns, I can check off what I want to see about the people in the end. So right now, I have unchecked everything except for card ID number, so that the only thing as we go through this, you're gonna see is someone's barcode number, so that I can do this demonstration for you guys. But normally it would give me their name and phone number and email address, because when I'm running it, I would like to see that. Okay, so then I can also select the date. So this is what I did for this director's report for July. All right, so I can hit generate statistics. And here is all of the categories of event statistics. You'll see down here at the very bottom, this total unduplicated number of people is 130. So that's each type, each one of my events that I showed you, those event templates fall into a certain category. And so they're tallying them up. And you can see, for example, 6 people participated 12 times. So this unduplicated is the total number of people. Duplicated is the total number of like swipes for that thing. So you could say 6 people came twice, but more likely 3 people came once and 2 people came 6 times, or whatever they, you know, to make it add up to the 12. There's some variety there. 19 people came a total of 66 times to fitness and exercise. And so all of this is 130. These numbers do not add up to 130 by themselves, because some of them are the same people that do fitness also attend lunches. But this is 67 people ate 311 lunches, right? So you'll notice the total unduplicated people that signed in the month of July is 130. That is the number one statistic you'll see here on the director's report, is unduplicated
Do
132.
you think that, as opposed to you typing it in, embedding that report into your director's report?
I could, it's just, I really like the 1-page format, and knowing that this then gets turned into the select board and gets posted on the town website. I mean, I'm happy to provide whatever you guys think is more important. I probably, like, I don't type this whole page, this whole thing over again. I go in and change the numbers.
Yeah.
And, you know, as you, I'm
No,
sure have
no.
realized, sometimes I miss the July for June or whatever,
Right.
but
That becomes your department head report that goes
Uh-huh.
correct.
yep, and then this gets posted on the select board's website, so you can, anybody can read my
But
director's report.
this might. I don't know if we try it for a little while, see if it
Yeah.
actually sort of. I'm not trying to create more work for you, I'm trying to make it easier in some respects,
Right,
but I'm looking for something that. You know, and there's a ton of statistics you can get there, like I see average daily attendance,
right,
you know.
yeah,
So there's some of that type of stuff, what's valid, what isn't.
right. So and that's the thing, so
Yeah.
I've tried to offer data and then I'm always open to more things. So for example, you can further click down here. So if I look at the fitness and exercise category, I have one person who came to chair exercise. They
Yeah.
came twice. I have 8 people who came a total of 21 times to the strength, balance, and flexibility. 13 people came 36 times to Tai Chi. Only one person did walking club, and 3 people came to yoga 6 times with Jeff.
Can it be?
That becomes the
I don't know,
1966.
level one.
A club, I know, right? Sometimes we offer programs and they're successful and sometimes they're not. So we'll offer things, I typically like to offer things for 3 or 4 months. September, we'll do September and October walking club and that will go away again. But every year we have interest in walking club. And then last month, I think there were 4 people who
But
did
it was
walking
kind
club.
of some of those,
Right.
you know, so
So-
that could have.
So and maybe that's a better, that's a reason for more detail, because then you would see that there in May and June, there were 4 or 5 people doing walking
Yeah.
club. May and June, and then in July, there's only been the 1. So now I can't,
In September.
if I were to click on any one of these, this would show me who these 8 people are.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna
Gonna
click
do
on
that.
that just for the sake of confidentiality. So, and again, with the nutrition, you know, this will show me
Yeah.
all the different meals. All of the different events are broken down. Is there anything in particular you'd like to see in more detail?
No, I think, like I said, is I think some of that might just sort of go more to answer the question that was asked.
Okay.
But I'm unclear as to what exactly Marge is trying to accomplish, or, that is. I mean, I guess it's great that we know these things. But I'm not troubled by a lack of understanding of,
Right, how many people?
yeah, or that the director's reports are not substantive enough for us to get a clear understanding of what's happening.
I don't disagree, you know, I think sometimes my whole concern with some of it was that it's trying to ease the report burden on Katie.
Right.
You know, I didn't want somebody to go through and have to get this stuff manually. That's not a great use of Katie's time.
Right. So once I create the chart, like the breakdowns, if seeing this event breakdown right here is helpful, I'll create this chart once and then I'll sub in the numbers each month, just like I do those. You know, I don't think that's the end of the world either way.
Now, what's the average daily attendance?
Yeah, so the average daily attendance is a really interesting statistic. So, and you'll see it's in there as one piece of it. So, in the existing director's report, the average daily attendance is 30 people. So see average, 30. So then you can look at it for the weekday. So on average, on Mondays and Friday, I would have told you Mondays and Fridays were our slowest days. But we've been adding some off-site things like farmers market and concerts and things like that in July. So that's probably making the Friday numbers look a little bit bigger.
Well, what makes the Tuesday number look so good?
Because Tuesday is cribbage day and good lunch day, and there's movies and there's conversation group. And oftentimes people are busy with other things on Mondays, but you know, they're here on Tuesdays and with good meals on Tuesdays. So, but that is an average. So that's looking at of the 4 or 5 Mondays in July, that was the average attendance for each of those.
For each day.
For each day. So, you know, but when we did the ice cream social, for example, I wanna say there was like 45, right? And I don't remember even what day of the week that was. So it's showing you an average. It's
Yeah.
not showing you that the highest day that we had people in here was this and the lowest day was that. It's showing you what on average.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you do the median and the low too? Or
No.
just at the mean?
no. So, and then, oops. No, go away. We're not pulling up service statistics. Okay. That's the same way I pull up the volunteer hours. When I look at meals, that's how I pull up what's here. So each one of these things, I'm pulling and then in,
What would be the difference between the event statistics and the activity statistics?
so the activity statistics. It depends on what they're considering an activity and a statistic, so, sorry. Okay,
That's public information.
well, we don't,
Yes and
so,
no.
so I don't know. I
Okay,
shouldn't
because you
done
don't
that.
have, because you really don't care. So that looks like it's more individualized as opposed to,
Correct, so that must be everybody, so I'm looking at a person and a calendar there,
Oh,
so
okay.
that is everybody who did an activity, if I wanted the list of that.
all right,
Some senior centers rent out or loan out
Yeah.
equipment, so there's a whole section for that. Call
So the-
logs,
yeah.
you know,
All right, that,
the ride statistics. That one I also can't demonstrate without showing you without people's names on it. So,
fair enough.
but there's statistics for that as well. And then, the summary statistics show, for example, kind of the, so that is both the events, which I ran the event statistics separately, those numbers match what's there.
The meals.
The meals, and the meals is not meals in here, that's home delivered meals, that's what they consider,
Meals on Wheels,
Meals on
that's-
Wheels, right? I have our daily lunches as a senior center event, so that they are more in tune, because the point of meals in this app is you put in the people and then it gives you the route that you should follow, and so it's really intended for home delivered meals. Services is where I pull it individually from its individual report, but so this one gives me 160 people attended events, got Meals on Wheels delivered, received services, or were volunteers. But that 160 number doesn't include rides. So to me, that 160 number doesn't mean as much, so I don't report that number to you. So, all right. If anybody wants to dig into this more fully, I would be happy to do that one-on-one with people, but, you know, even as it is, I'm gonna have to have APAC go gray out some portion of this recording, before it gets posted. So, any other questions before so I would,
No, like I said, is I was, my thought was in having that whole discussion on it was, you know, is it easy to get? Is it
Mhm.
easy to pull some of that information? And is it having you manually do it is not, to me, a good use of your time.
agree.
But if it's something that you can push a button, pull a report,
Yeah,
And I don't, just as a general policy matter, and I'm speaking for myself,
Yeah.
I don't feel it necessary to month track declining or increasing usage on for activities or events or meals over a period of 6 months or a year, perhaps. If there was declining average daily attendance, or if there were, you know, meals that, you know, the lunch people, you know, was some. that I think would be some cause for conversation about, you know, what are the trends or what are we not doing or not doing that's
Right.
causing a decline in. But I don't, I don't feel it necessary to kind of, what would be in my view, micromanage the daily comings and goings in an effort to potentially maximize usage, because I think for us, the board, our view should be somewhat longer. That is over a period of a year to 18 months, because the budget cycle works on a yearly schedule, so we're not gonna make any substantive changes
Right.
in the interim. And it takes quite a while for, you know, the statistics to average out to a meaningful number.
Right.
So,
So, and that's why last month, as part of the director's report, I gave you the annual statistics and I compared them to the previous 3 years. So that you could look over a longer run to see, we do have more people attending, we are reaching more people, we're serving more meals, we're doing more outreach, we're getting more rides, like all of those things are on the rise. But again, happy to do all of those. I provided a total number, like for meals, for example, 67 older adults ate 311 meals. Because to me, that's more meaningful than today there were 16 and tomorrow there are 31 or 32 signed up. And the following day there's 18 and then 22 and 22. Because to me, and maybe it's because I'm familiar, I'm here every day, I know the number is gonna be somewhere between 16 would be a small lunch and 32 would be a big lunch on any given week. Special events, much larger, right?
That was.
But to me, that doesn't indicate as much as 67 people are attending our lunch program. It's not just.
For the month.
For the month. It's not just a core group of 10 people, 8 or 10 people who are here every day. There are core groups of probably 8 or 10 who are here every day. But over the course of a month, 67 people sat in those 24 seats over there and they ate 311 meals. So to me, that shows that our usage is larger than any one particular meal. But everybody calculates and digests things differently.
Differently, yeah.
So,
did you say, no, but did you say digest in reference to the?
no pun intended. No, but everybody digests data and information differently, so I'm happy to present it in whatever format. So for Marge's email, lunch daily, I can certainly put in.
Would that monthly average statistic work?
Well, she asked for how many people are here daily, so that would be
That's 30 days of data or 20 days.
20 days of data, yeah. So I mean, I'm happy to list out 20 days and 20 numbers. I don't find that meaningful, but maybe Marge would, so I'm happy
But
to
here's
do
something,
it.
to be honest with you, I'd almost think that monthly average. That would give you the 4 weeks, 4 Mondays, you know, the
Right.
4 or 5 Tuesdays or what.
I think we
Yeah.
just need to hear from Marge what her.
Right, yeah.
Because I read the email. It's not clear to me exactly what the overriding
Right,
point
Well,
is or what is
You know,
missing. or
if
what
she's
would-
looking for, I'm sorry.
I think we need to wait for Marge to come tell us exactly what it is.
Yeah.
She would like to know that she doesn't know, or.
Okay.
You know, that she has but needs clarification about it.
Cheryl, what were you gonna say?
And Katie, you let us know if there's trends, either positive or negative, that are
Mhm.
impacting the monthly functioning of the senior center. If all of a sudden
Right.
we have another COVID, God forbid, and nobody's coming for
Right.
meals, you know, you would let us know those trends were trending upward,
Absolutely.
trending downward. So that's the main. I don't care about the particular numbers, just the trends that you see and you observe. Your boots on the ground every day. You know if
Mhm.
things are being utilized or not. For example, the rides to Emerson,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there were far fewer medical, so in the ride system, not only
Mhm.
can I tell you that we took 66 riders on 440 trips, I can tell you out of 5 categories that MART tracks. what they were for. Were they for nutrition? Were they for social? Were they for the medical or shopping and worker employment? So I can tell you how many of that 440 was for each of those categories. And it was a much smaller number for medical than I expected this month, and a much larger number for shopping than I expected. And because we have a new dispatcher,
Priorities.
well, but because we have a new dispatcher, I went through and was like, I need to double check these numbers because this is not what I thought they were gonna be. Maybe there's a data entry error. And so I went back and looked at each ride that had gone in the system and to see what each leg was coded as. And as it turned out, there were one or two things that needed adjusting, but by and large, they were in there correctly. And so I was like, huh, that's really interesting. We've never given that few medical rides before. And so then that was why, like, to your point, Cheryl, in the transportation section, I'm saying more analysis is needed. Because of the decreased medical rides. Here's things I'm considering.
I mean, it may be that just because Ayer is geographically so small, square area, people found it, and it was relatively easy for the senior center to provide quick trips up to the hospital, just because it's only a mile and a half, and it might take 4 or 5 minutes, and people felt when that was no longer available, people had other options to get to where they're going.
Could be, absolutely.
And trying to schedule the MART van to get to there it was more, they were using the MART van to get to their medical appointment at the hospital because it was more convenient to do it.
Right.
And now that that's an unavailable convenience, they now have other means of meeting it.
Right, yep.
And the MART van is less convenient than those other options.
But my recollection is that number of total rides or legs hasn't changed that much. I was trying to think back to last year.
No, I mean, it's typically somewhere in, I would say if it's in the 300s somewhere, I would consider the upper 300s, I consider that low. And it's touched 500 a couple of times. You know, I forget, I don't have in front of me what it was, like 5,000 rides for the year, right? So even if for last year, it was like a little over 5,000. Which even if you were to fully flatten that to 2,500 round trips, as an example, the town of Littleton, bigger town, fewer older adults than we have, but they gave 1,500 rides last year. And we gave 2,500. I'm gonna give them credit for their trips being logged as round trips, 1,500. We gave them 2,500 rides last year. So it's really interesting to compare that stuff.
I mean,
So,
my first whack at that one would be, Ayer has less, the folks who are using the service have less access to private vehicles than the folks in Littleton.
right, yeah, I mean, there's a million ways to explain it, right? Like, I'm not trying to say I'm cooler than Littleton. What I'm saying is there's always like,
Katie, on it.
yeah, you know, there's just a lot of different ways to look at statistics and see, you know, tell a story.
Barbara, you had a question or?
You know, a more meaningful, relevant number would be the percentage of seniors utilizing, not the actual raw numbers, would be
Right,
of the
right.
overall percentage of seniors under a certain income, over a certain, you could do what you want.
Right, yep. No, agreed, Cheryl.
Right, you're talking about hospitals, but you also have to talk about the doctors.
Right,
Yeah, with medical in general too,
yeah,
you know.
medical
That's
covers
what I
both of
wanted to
those,
make
yeah.
sure, 'cause, you know, the doctor leaving, that was a lot of.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're not taking, we don't take people to the ER, so, so those are, medical appointments are all doctor's
Like
office
X-rays and
appointments.
stuff like that.
Right, yeah, they're all, I mean, you could be going for blood work, you could
Okay,
be going for an X-ray, you could be going to see a physician, but
Okay.
it's all
thinking it
medical
was.
services. We don't take anyone to the ER. If you need the ER, then we can't take you. That's against our policies. Yeah. If you need urgent care, we're happy to take you to urgent care. But if you are, having a cardiac event, if you are actively,
Bleeding.
leaking bodily fluids, bleeding or any of those sorts of things, we cannot take you.
If you are having a medical emergency, please hang up and dial.
Yes, yes.
911.
Yes,
No one,
Uh,
no one in labor gets a senior van. Good.
exactly. So last but not least, and I know we're already over an hour, so last but not least, the senior center building committee, gave a cost update to the select board on July 23rd and had a continued conversation about size and cost. We went back to the OPM and the architect to offer us alternatives to bring the cost down further. That was also a lengthy and comprehensive conversation. And we've got kind of two scenarios now, that one is bringing down soft costs only for the building, and one of them is soft costs and square footage. The building committee voted to reduce both the soft costs and reduce the square footage. So it will, the building will be now about 13,000 square feet. We had started around 14,400, 14,500, something like that. So it's about 1,500 square feet that have been taken off of the building since we started in an attempt to control costs and create efficiencies and things like that. So we're going back to the select board on August 19th. That's next week. Yeah, that's next week. To give them this latest round of updates and to ask for their endorsement, their support to move forward for the fall town meeting. And, to begin, because we don't want to begin townwide mailers and public input sessions
Until you have that.
until we have their support for taking that forward.
Do you think you're gonna get it?
I don't know, because I thought we were gonna have, I thought that we were gonna have their support at the last one. And we didn't, so we did another round of cuts. So, how do I sum up my thoughts into one
Did they
level
tell, I guess
sentence?
is one question, and I haven't, I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, I haven't done it. Are they looking for a specific dollar? And I'm not asking for it, but.
Right.
Are they looking for a specific dollar limit or are they looking for a specific building size?
They have not given us that, which has been part of the frustrating
Okay.
part, is that, it's too big. Well, how big would be okay? We don't know. It's too expensive. Well, what dollar amount would be okay? We don't know. Like they're not giving, there is not a real clear target. I will say we've now taken off about 10% of the building, 1,500 square, a little more than 10%, 1,500 square feet. And, we have reduced the cost from all taxpayers covering the entire cost to soliciting the support of FinCom and capital planning for capital stabilization and select board for UDAG funds. And then hitting a target for the bond to be about 10 million. So right now, there's kind of a verbal agreement to do 3 million between capital stabilization and UDAG plus 10 million. Bond would be 13 million. Then there's been some additional conversation about maybe 1.5 million more out of those funds, keeping the taxpayer piece at 10 million. So that's about 14.5. I've been working on the presentation today and we're right at 15 million. So it could be 14.8 if we didn't put in a generator, but the town manager has expressed openly and frequently that we shouldn't build a building that size without a generator to protect it as an investment. So we're really, really close. So see what happens.
That also then gives you potential shelter if it needed at some point in
A
time.
warming and cooling
Yeah.
station, yeah. The shelter
So-
word is a little loaded, but yeah,
But
a
you're
warming
right.
and cooling
For-
station.
But
For all
you've got a
public-
kitchen too.
For all the public who are listening, having the public show up at the August 19th meeting, and I know that August is tough. But the August 19th meeting to kind of show support for, and you can do it virtually as well as in person,
Mhm.
to communicate to the select board support for moving forward with the project, I think would be important.
Mhm.
My sense is that the goalposts tend to move. And they move depending on any number of variables that I don't really fully understand.
Well, So, yeah, I think we've made
Yeah.
2, 3 rounds of changes now. It's getting to a place where it feels like they either are going to support it where we are, or they don't support the project. And maybe they won't see it that black and white, but I think that's kind of where we're at. So, we just need to know that either way.
Yeah.
Going forward. So next Tuesday, and yes, if you are in support of the project, I guess even if you're not, but particularly if you are, it's important to have the public engaged. And, at this point, I think at the last building committee meeting, it became apparent, at this point, there are no more further cuts that we can make to the building without impacting the functionality, without impacting the program is the phrase, but
Mhm.
that's not, the meaning of that doesn't make a lot of sense. Without taking away things that people are looking forward to in the building, we can't bring the cost down any further. So we've already taken off the walking roof and the wider sidewalk. We've already shrunk down some square footage at this point in order to save any further costs. Things will really tangibly come out of the building. Things like sidewalks, things like zero landscaping, because we've already reduced the landscaping budget once. The patios are already off the building in order they're in an ad alternate. So if the bids come in lower than we expected, we add them back on, but there are currently, to get to this number, no outdoor seating areas. So. And if fundraising comes through, we can add that back on, but. There just isn't any other place to cut now.
And there's, and this came up at the last bill, that is the cost estimate for the building itself, and I just learned this, is designed to come in at the midpoint of what the cost estimator feels will be the midpoint of the bids.
Mhm.
By definition, that means that there will be a lower bid, because you couldn't get the midpoint if you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, my hope is that, assuming the cost estimator is in the ballpark of where he needs to be on the midpoint, that there's a high likelihood that one of the bids will come in lower. And state law requires that the lowest bid be taken.
Right.
So the hope would be that there's some substantial savings. For me, I think the greater risk to the community is that if the select board feels like the building needs to be smaller, it's too much, we don't need all that, kind of that narrative. That they want something built that 2 years later, or 3 years later, members of the community are saying, well, there's no room in the exercise club for me, exercise room for me, or the yoga studio, or, where we have yoga, you can only fit 13 people and you're really getting 20 people who want to participate, or at lunch. So I think that, and Katie mentioned this, that for me, the greater political risk is that we build a building that
That is
turns out to
insufficient.
be insufficient to meet the need that the
Right.
building
The
is.
future.
And people
Yeah,
are,
the future need, yeah.
well, and
Well,
not
any
even, not
time.
even in just current, but like, to me, and that's been the real line for me as a director, to say, how much do we need to spend in order to really get something better? Like, if you just took the second story off, you would have one activity room, and we'd have the small activity room and the big activity room.
Which is what we have now.
We have what we have now, and yet we would pay 10 or 12 million, and so people would be paying money, whereas they're not paying anything right now.
Yeah.
And would it be bigger? Yes. Would it be better? Yes, of course, I'm not denying any of that. but functionally, you'd be paying the money and not getting as much from it versus
Yeah.
paying the money and actually
How-
getting to
Just out of curiosity, how big is the building in Littleton?
16,000 square feet, I think. It's 15,800, 15,900, something like that, roughly 16,000 square feet, yeah. And it's also very difficult to know whether they're talking about gross or net square footage too, because 13,000 gross square feet is 11,000 square feet of programming space. Don't quote me on those exact
Yeah.
numbers, right? So when Groton says they have 11,000, we might be building the same size as Groton, or we might be building something substantially smaller. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's very difficult to compare apples to apples
Yeah.
because
Cause you've had administrative spaces that can't be, they're really
Right.
unusable.
well, that's the difference between gross and net are things like hallway square footage
Yeah.
and stuff like that, so. But that's down in the weeds,
Bathrooms
but
count to that?
Huh?
Do bathrooms count?
bathrooms are in your square footage, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, how thick are the walls, you know, how much walking space do you have?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, all those
how high are the
things.
ceilings?
So, yeah, so again, August 19th is the
Okay.
next select board meeting, and I think that's it for me, and I made this go very long.
No,
But I
that's
did
perfect.
take care of the 240 thing item as well.
Yes. Would that be possible to put that on your director's report?
Normally it is, I
Okay.
just, I didn't have those dates at that time,
That's fine,
because I
that's
have
fine.
to determine, but yes, I will.
And
in
the only
future
thing
do
is,
that.
I guess maybe to find out for more is just the annual conference of, what is it, the Massachusetts
Councils
on Aging.
Yep. Mass
Has-
Councils on Aging. They have their annual conference.
Yeah,
And it is always in October, and this year it is October 22nd to 24th in Falmouth. At the Seacrest Hotel.
They don't ever think about having it like in Worcester or Springfield.
They typically go back and forth between Falmouth and. Is it Medford? Where's the
Yeah.
place that's got the, it has like a hotel with an indoor water park, but not Great Wolf Lodge. Where is that?
Danvers?
Danvers, yes.
Yeah.
So they go back and forth.
Way out back.
They know that the state does not end at Route 95. They know that.
I know,
Four
I know.
95, you get to, you can go to Worcester, you can go to Springfield,
I know.
you can go to damn near the New York border. and
Yeah.
It's still Massachusetts.
Yep, so I think the population density though is
No, I
definitely in
understand.
eastern,
Once-
eastern Mass,
Once in a
but
while.
yeah. But people enjoy going to Falmouth because it's a small hotel, it's right on the beach, it has good meeting space for our conference, so
and they probably give a decent rate
they do, it's
after season,
incredibly affordable,
I think you
before
get-
they shut it down.
you would get, I think you'd get a great rate in Springfield in February. I'm guessing.
Yeah, but who'd wanna go in February? But
Yeah,
anyway,
Yeah, all right, so.
and what is that? Is it, how does that work? Does that, it's, I think, is this the one you said typically if somebody volunteers there for a little while, they can?
Yes, you can reach out to MCOA, and if you need their information, that's fine, but they're always looking for volunteers to be sort of the session facilitators, so you go in and make sure that, you know, everything's there, you greet the presenter, you hold out, do what?
That people like me don't get lost.
So yeah, you can help people not get lost, but then you're supposed to fill out a survey, although they did move all of that into an app this past year, so I'm not sure how they'll be doing volunteers. But if a member of the COA board would really like to go, I don't see any issue with the department sending, like, if you guys nominate one of you to go for the day. I don't think we can pay for you to stay the night,
No,
but
I was
the-
like, I said,
the
just more, I
day-
think just sort of some of it
Yeah.
might be interesting, and I don't know.
yeah, the one day registration, I wanna say is right around $100, so I'd be happy to sponsor a board member to go if you wanted to go for the day. The whole conference, the 3 days with the eat, like breakfast, lunch and dinner included is like 600. So it's
Yeah.
more
Cocktail
Absolutely.
reception?
Hmm?
Cocktail reception?
now.
No.
I mean,
For
there's a
600?
cash bar, but they're not paying for your drinks. Otherwise, the departments couldn't pay for it.
That's it.
So, yeah, so it's a beautiful, lovely setting now. Okay, all right. Do you want to table this other thing?
I think, in deference of the time, I think we're gonna table the assessment for till next month. Are you okay with that, Cheryl?
I am very okay with that. Thank you. I was gonna make a motion to table.
Second,
So Cheryl, do you in agreement to table?
Aye.
Dennis?
aye.
Mary? Aye. So that carries unanimously. I'll also then accept a motion to adjourn.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Cheryl? You-
Aye.
Aye. Dennis?
aye.
Mary? Aye. Thank you very much.